Good afternoon, and welcome to the 22nd Annual First Coast Business Hall of Fame, presented by Raymond James Financial and the Florida Council on Economic Education. I am Suzanne Costanza, Executive Director of the FCEE, and I am so happy to be here with you all today as we celebrate the class of 2020. Daniel Davis, Dr. Leon Haley Jr., Karen Mathis, David and Michael Miller, Brian Wolfburg, and Paul McElroy, as well as all past Hall of Fame members who have shaped the First Coast region into the thriving business and philanthropic community it is today. As we kick things off, I would like to provide a little background on how we got here today. As many of our longtime supporters know, we typically host the Hall of Fame in the late fall or early winter. It's an exciting luncheon that brings together 400 plus business professionals from around the region to honor the incoming class. Unfortunately, as with almost everything last year, we were forced to push the date back again and again, only to finally determine that the safest course of action would be to go virtual. And so we did. Hopefully you have all received a link to our digital program, and if not, a link is available on our website to view at the end of the show. So today, as we finally come together, we will not only award these great leaders for their outstanding achievements, but we will take some time at the end of the program to listen to their stories and hear their perspectives on all things business in the First Coast region and beyond. Melissa Ross of WJCT's First Coast Connect will be moderating that discussion for us, and we couldn't be more excited for this opportunity to engage with our distinguished business leaders. Now, just a little about who the Florida Council on Economic Education is and why we're so invested in the community. For 45 years, the FCEE has been providing teacher training and classroom resources to schools across the state in support of financial literacy, economics, free enterprise, and entrepreneurship education at no cost. We believe that a confident and well-prepared teacher is paramount to creating meaningful and memorable lessons that students will carry for the rest of their lives. It's all in our motto: train one, teach thousands. One of the ways in which we fulfill our mission is through the support of 5 centers for economic and financial education on university and college campuses across Florida. One of those centers is located right here in Duval County at Florida State College at Jacksonville, run by Dr. Susan Riley. Last school year, a year cut short by the pandemic, the center at FSCJ trained nearly 150 local educators, who in turn reached over 12,000 students. Dr. Riley's engaging seminars blended economics with literacy, the arts, world geography, and so much more. Students were treated to guest lectures, off-site tours, and even a behind-the-scenes look at how a Broadway show is produced, all through the lens of an economist. These exciting programs were then tailored so that the educators felt comfortable replicating them in their own classroom for years to come. In addition to providing award-winning educator programs, the Council also provides classroom resources to enhance learning and strengthen lessons. Each year, the FCEE distributes 30,000 copies of our highly regarded student workbook, Financial Freedom, free of charge. In the 2019-2020 school year, nearly 1,000 books were ordered and delivered to schools throughout the region. The FCE understands that in order for everyone to have a seat at the table, opportunities to thrive must be available, and inclusion in the financial sector is vital to the elimination of poverty. That's why this current school year, we collaborated with the Department of Corrections to have financial freedom workbooks written into the GED courses. But at the heart of the matter is always our beloved K-12 students and teachers. Each year, we take some time to celebrate the educators who go above and beyond to make a difference. The Regional Economic Educator and Leadership Awards honor outstanding teachers across Florida who deliver personal finance and economic education in their classrooms each day. This year, Dr. Riley nominated 16 educators from her district as real award winners. Through the generous support of our sponsors, we were able to provide over $5,000 in cash awards and prizes to those local educators. Additionally, Eric Fields of Mandarin High School was awarded the runner-up Charles C. Harper Economic Educator of the Year Award for his outstanding achievements in teaching personal finance and economic education, This came with a national conference scholarship and a $500 cash prize. We are so proud of Eric. At the FCEE, we are fortunate enough to be able to provide our services for minimal cost through the support of our corporate sponsors and private donors. That means for every $100 raised, we can supply an entire class with the workbooks to last all year, or a full day of training for one teacher at the Center for Economic and Financial Education. I would like to thank all of today's sponsors for their generous contributions. I am sure they are all disappointed not to have the traditional chicken and potato lunch, but I promise we'll be back on schedule this fall with the class of 21. Our presenting sponsors this afternoon is Raymond James Financial. Our platinum sponsors are ViStar Credit Union and Sight and Sound Audiovisual. Our gold sponsors, Drum & Press, FIS, Florida Blue, Jack's Chamber, the Jacksonville Daily Record, and Public Supermarkets Charities. And our corporate sponsors, Florida Rock and Tank Lines Foundation, Inc., Gate Petroleum, Iberia Bank, the JEA, KPMG, PGA Tour, RSNH, Truist Bank, and the University of North Florida. Of course, we wouldn't even have a Hall of Fame if it weren't for the wonderful people who make up each class. You can find a complete list of the members on page 9 of your digital program. So far, this afternoon, I am so pleased to announce that we have raised just under $80,000 in support of students and teachers throughout the region and state. But I'd love to get that to $100,000. On the screen, you'll see a QR code and a link to our donation page. The QR code is scannable from your cell phone now, or you can visit our website after the program if you'd like to help us reach our fundraising goal. I hope you will consider the financial impact a gift could make to the children and teachers that are a part of your everyday lives. Hopefully you've had a chance to jot down that information quickly, because now we're going to take a look at what it means to teachers who receive our services every day.
Paving the road to financial freedom for all Florida students is the core mission of the Florida Council on Economic Education. New legislation mandates what has become known as financial literacy courses be offered as an elective to high school seniors.
For some of the classes that we take, we don't always use later on in life, but for this class, we can actually use after college and even sometimes during college, depending on what you're doing. And so it really gives you actual life skills.
Those other straight knowledge type classes are very helpful. This class is something that everyone's going to use at any level of job or anything.
We're looking over houses and finding rent, utilities, how much we're going to pay for a month, if we're rooming with all the people at our table, and seeing if that meets our percentage for our monthly pay for our job.
When we learned about the credit and debit, it really helped me get to know what the cards actually do, what credit's for.
It teaches you life skills that you'll need in the future. So when we're learning about going into debt and credit and all this stuff, it really puts a picture in your head of you don't want to get into that and what you should do, the steps to not have to go through that.
I think the one thing I'm going to take away, hopefully, is to keep saving up my money and not put it away to wasteful things and focusing on stuff I need compared to stuff I want.
A deposit. A deposit. It's money I can. It's money I can.
Younger students in 4th and 8th grade may also participate, but only if their teachers choose to integrate it into their classroom.
So today you're also going to learn how to write a check.
By starting at the 4th grade level, students quickly learn the ABCs of debits and credits.
Like Ms. Johnson is teaching us about the bank accounts, we will have to save money at some point in time, and we will have to use a checking account.
Deposits are good actually for you. That's good, but withdrawals, it's not good for you because you have to, if you don't add your stuff right, then something bad can happen.
The money, we're going to be able to use it once we're older, and so it's a really good lessons to learn because we're going to be using them at an older age. My parents were very surprised that I knew what all these definitions were because they thought that we weren't learning this yet.
The Council's mission is also focused on empowering teachers, offering comprehensive training courses they can immediately apply to the classroom. Or as we like to say, train one, teach thousands.
Financial literacy encompasses big concepts, starting with getting a job, preparing for your future, how to learn about credit, investing, and also protecting and insuring. And we also talk about cybersecurity because that's really important for your financial literacy these days.
Money defines every aspect of your life in some form. So to teach them at a younger age that it's important and it matters and it can go just as easily as it can come to you is really important to me. So I love teaching it.
How to be financially responsible in their future, for sure. Not be in as much debt as some of the other young adults.
People I talked to today who have a student loan and they never thought about it when they were taking it out, they said they wish that somebody would have talked to them about it before they decided to take out maybe the largest amount of money they could take out.
In today's day and age, they don't really even get to use cash. So when they understand what a debit card does and how it's connected to cash, they kind of lose their minds.
Financial literacy is using money wisely and being financially literate for the future.
The biggest idea I have for financial literacy is don't spend more than you have.
Building awareness on financial education is a critical issue. We invite you to join us. Together, we can raise generations of financially responsible and productive young Floridians.
Definitely going to use the skills we've learned with credit and debit cards, and then also taxes and mortgages. That's going to really be helpful.
I think we need to learn the skills to pay the bills.
I think that financial literacy is teaching them those skills that they're going to need next year in just a few months to pay those bills.
Learning the skills to pay the bills.
I think that the kids learning how to write a check and knowing that checks are connected to cash and it's not always about cash, or those plastic cards are connected to cash, really does teach them the life skill that you have to have it to pay the bills.
I'm learning the skills to pay the bills.
Wasn't that great? This is just one small example of the services and impact that FCEE has on classrooms across the state. We feel so blessed to be able to provide support services and materials to enhance learning for all of our students. And now is the moment we've all been waiting for, the induction of the class of 2020. Our first inductee this afternoon is Daniel Davis. As CEO of Jack's Chamber, Daniel has been a fixture of the business growth and economic development throughout Greater Jacksonville for years. This year, the Chamber surpassed its own goals and employment growth is on the rise, even amidst the pandemic. Let's take a look at the video for a little more on Daniel Davis.
So when I was thinking about what are those qualities that have allowed Daniel Davis to be truly as successful as he is, I thought of a few and I wanted to share those with you. The first, professionalism. Now, do you realize as the CEO of the Jack's Chamber, Daniel has covered the world. He's traveled not only domestically but internationally, meeting with CEOs in boardrooms, and because of his efforts and so many others, since 2014, this community has brought 18,000 new jobs and $3 billion of capital investment. So one of those things, when I think about Daniel Davis, is professionalism.
I believe Daniel was chosen because he cares about Jacksonville. He is a native of Jacksonville. He's represented Jacksonville on the Hill, and he came back to Jacksonville to just continue to pour his heart and soul into making our community a better place.
And any great leader, I mean, when it gets down to it, a great leader has to think of others. They mentor others, they give back, they inspire others. Daniel Davis not only talks the talk, but he walks the walk.
He's collaborative, he's a thought leader, he's ethical. He tries to ensure that everyone has a voice and that we collaborate and talk through issues and just get feedback from everyone. So I think that as you look at him as a leader, his business and his professional qualities are those that a lot of us would like to emulate as a leader.
You know, there are other characteristics that are so important as well. For example, when you think of Daniel Davis, anyone that knows Daniel immediately thinks of humility. I mean, think about this. I've known this guy for 20 years, and I was so excited when he got elected to the city council.
Oh my God.
Not to mention then serving as the youngest president, the youngest city council president
I may be the best
in the history up until that time.
Alive. Me.
And then went on to serve in leadership positions in Tallahassee in the State House of Representatives. And being the CEO of the Jax Chamber, one of the largest chambers in the nation. Humility. I think of humility.
I just want to say, Daniel, I'm very proud of you. I'm happy for you. This is a well-deserved honor. You have worked, you've given your heart and your soul to Jacksonville and to our community, and it's for times like this that you should be appreciated. And so I say thank you on behalf of the community, on behalf of the chamber, and all of us who have worked with you. It's been a pleasure.
First of all, thank you so much to John and Chantel for the introductions. I'm not sure the video is going to help me or hurt me. I may be the first person in the history to be both inducted into the Hall of Fame and kicked out at the same time. So thank you for bearing with us, and thank you, Chantel, for being the adult in the room. I would like to first thank my family. They mean so much to me. My mom and dad who are watching right now, if it weren't for the hard work that they put into my brothers and my sister and everything they gave to us, there's no way I would be where I am today. And I also want to thank my family, my children who may or may not be watching right now, and my beautiful wife, Rebecca. I know she's there, and baby, I love you, and I wouldn't be here if you wouldn't sacrifice so much for me. And you know, I've had the opportunity to serve the businesses in Northeast Florida for about 25 years. And through that process, I've been able to come to a lot of the Hall of Fame luncheons, and deep down, I've always thought, man, I really wish that I could one day enter the First Coast Business Hall of Fame. And today is that day, and I just want to tell you how much I appreciate that. It means the world to me. I don't take it lightly, and I promise that I'll continue to serve the citizens of Jacksonville as long as I have that opportunity. And I would tell you that it's very important, and the reason that we're here is because we believe we can provide hope. And there's many, many people in Jacksonville that don't have the hope that tomorrow is going to be better. And I can promise you this, education and jobs create hope. And everybody on this stage today has hope that tomorrow is going to be better. Not everybody in Jacksonville has that. And the reason I love this is because we're going to be able to give more hope to children, and that solves so many social ills, you know, criminal activity, self-esteem, the opportunity to provide for your family, to be a hardworking taxpayer. I really appreciate this opportunity, and as long as we have this stage and this opportunity, we're going to continue fighting for everyone in this community to have hope that tomorrow is going to be better, and that they can have a job, and that they can be prepared for that job. So once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to the panel discussion.
Our second inductee this afternoon is Dr. Leon Haley, Jr. Dr. Haley has been at the forefront of leading UF Health Jacksonville through the pandemic and is undoubtedly one of the most highly regarded and respected researchers and doctors in the community. Let's take a closer look at the outstanding work of Dr. Leon Haley, Jr.
I think Dr. Haley was chosen for this award for a couple of reasons. First, he has had such an exceptional impact on a local treasure in our community, UF Shands Jacksonville. As you may know, Dr. Haley is responsible for running the only safety net hospital in our community.
First and foremost, he truly cares about people, patients, staff, and the community as a whole. It's very obvious in the way he interacts and communicates. He is also always willing to listen and takes the time to follow up to ensure closure.
UF Shands Jacksonville has always been a well-respected hospital for the incredible work they do. However, many people have historically seen it as the hospital for the poor because of its location. Dr. Haley and his team continue to raise the profile of this community treasure. Together, he and his team are establishing UF Shands Jacksonville as a hospital for all members of our community.
This honor recognizes leaders who have made significant impacts on the First Coast community through their business and civic achievements and are examples of high integrity and ideals and serve as role models for young people. I think Dr. Haley meets all of these criteria. He's been involved in the First Coast community, serving on multiple boards and being an excellent example of a leader. Since his arrival at UF Health in Jacksonville, he has created a sense of optimism and excitement for our campus. He's very committed to our staff and patients, and it really shows on multiple levels.
Dr. Haley is exceptionally knowledgeable and experienced at running a company, especially a hospital. He is an incredible visionary with the skills to lead, manage, and execute in delivering exceptional results.
Congratulations on this honor, Dr. Haley. Thanks for all that you do for our community and UF Health. We're very fortunate to have you.
Congratulations, Dr. Haley. You are an incredible leader, family man, and community steward. There are so many people in this community who look up to you. Your ability to see the best in people and to help them find and unleash their potential is truly a gift. You are a member of an exceptional group of Black executives on the First Coast who are annihilating any myths about the abilities of Black people to lead at the highest levels of corporations and communities. Every leader who knows you, respects you, appreciates you, and learns from you. Today, we honor you.
Well, thank you to Mr. Darnell Smith and Mr. Greg Miller from UF Health. I really appreciate your incredible words and your faith in me to continue to lead our organization, UF Health Jacksonville, as well as really to be a representative for our community for the First Coast for Jacksonville. Certainly want to be able to thank my family as well, my children, as you saw on the screen, who are scattered across the country. I know they're not watching because one of them's playing golf today in Kiawah Island, but certainly a shout out to those in Texas and San Diego, and they will continue to impress and honor us and our wisdom. I really appreciate my parents who are also watching in Pittsburgh and had not had the opportunity to see them for some time given the pandemic. But now that they have been safely vaccinated, had the opportunity to spend time with them and really appreciate their leadership and their guidance for me as I've made my way through life. A year ago, we were all living what we thought were pretty normal lives, and yet here we are a year later, getting our way through a pandemic, racial and social unrest, economic destruction, and yet we're on our way back. And that's the way we think about ourselves at UF Health. It's my privilege to represent our 7,600 employees who are scattered in 5 counties and 2 states who take care of almost 1 million patients, serving as a level 1 trauma center and then level 3 NICU. Appreciate all the great work that they're doing. Appreciate our colleagues in healthcare across the city who banded together to help us manage the pandemic. And finally, really appreciate our work beyond the pandemic to serve our community, to serve our Urban Health Alliance, to really work with all of our patients, all of our citizens to make a difference in Jacksonville. I had the opportunity to come to Jacksonville 4 years ago, love our city, love the opportunity, and love our ability for UF Health to connect and really help Mr. Davis, the Jax Chamber, reach all of its potential. Thank you all. Thank you for this honor. Appreciate it.
Congratulations to both of our inductees so far. Our third inductee this afternoon is Karen Mathis of the Jacksonville Daily Record. Karen is known for her timely and in-depth reporting, but also her giving spirit and strong family ties. Let's take a look at Karen through the eyes of her friends and colleagues.
Karen Mathis, of course, is one of my colleagues at the Jacksonville Daily Record.
I've known Karen and watched her work, with great admiration I might add, since the late 1980s. I have always been a fan of Karen's.
I know Karen was chosen for the Hall of Fame because she really represents business. As much as executives in a variety of companies, she is now an executive in the publication and communication business, and probably knows more than most of the rest of us would know, because it's her business to know every single day. Her research, her relationships, and things that she did made her such an integral part of the business community in Northeast Florida.
Karen's best qualities, I think, and there are many, is her loyalty and her tenacity to get to the real story. I mean, so many reporters just kind of get something from a source and they think it's right, but Karen really digs to make sure that it's honest and it's fair and it's truthful. And I think that's why a lot of people open up to her.
She is always first, fair, prolific, and trusted by all of the sources involved.
Karen's personal qualities, I think, are really no different from her professional qualities, because it all has to do with trust and honor and decency and respect. She is a devoted wife, she's a loving mother, and a doting grandmother. So all that kind of transcends both personal and professional.
By keeping the community informed, no one has contributed more to creating a sense of community among Jacksonville business people as has Karen Mathis. But here is what really distinguishes Karen: her integrity and superior ethics and moral standards as a journalist and person. The way Karen practices her profession is the gold standard for all journalists.
Karen, to me, is like the Walter Cronkite of our day. Back in his day, Walter Cronkite was known as the most trusted man in journalism, and I think Karen is the most trusted person in journalism in Jacksonville.
Karen, you are such a wonderful asset to Jacksonville. Congratulations to you on joining the Northeast Florida Business Hall of Fame. You're so deserving, and I'm so happy that you're a part of it.
So Karen, I want to close with this. Congratulations on this well-deserved honor. All of us at the Daily Record and the Observer Media Group are proud of you, proud to call you a colleague, and are always in awe at what you do for Jacksonville, the Daily Record, and the Observer Media Group. Congratulations, Karen, well deserved.
Well, thank you. Thank you to the Florida Council on Economic Education for all that you do for our state's students and teachers, and for this honor. I was surprised because I've spent my journalism career in Jacksonville on the other side of this event by covering it as a reporter. In researching the First Coast Business Hall of Fame members, I found that almost 90 Northeast Florida business leaders, including 13 women, have been honored since 1999. And I discovered that I have had the opportunity to interview and report about almost every one of them during my 43 years in Jacksonville. Opportunity is the key word in my career, and it is the key word for all of us, especially students. And that is why the work of the Florida Council on Economic Education is so important. All of us depend on the opportunities that come our way, by birth, by design, or by luck. I grew up in rural Missouri with hardworking parents, 2 older brothers, 2 younger sisters, and almost 60 first cousins. I learned networking. After 32 years in Jacksonville in journalism and a nonprofit, my friends Jim and Donna Bailey gave me the opportunity to join the Financial News and Daily Record. And that was in 2010, and Matt and Lisa Walsh let me stay when they bought the company in 2017. Our team members at the Daily Record and the Jacksonville Record and Observer are always there for each other. Here's a little of what I learned from my coverage of previous Hall of Fame honorees. Strive for excellence. It takes you further than settling for good enough. Nobody can steal or stop your intuition. And from Bob Shercliffe, there is no right way to do the wrong thing. So I want to thank my wonderful husband, Mac Mathis, for his patience and support, our sons, Eric and Alex, and Eric's wife, my wonderful daughter-in-law, Michelle, And special thanks to Eric and Michelle for giving me the best opportunity to be Grandma Tootsie for baby Rhett. Thank you to everybody.
Congratulations, Karen. I love that quote by Bob Shercliffe. That's fantastic. Our fourth and fifth inductees this afternoon are David and Michael Miller of Brightway Insurance. Under their leadership, Brightway now leads the nation as the #1 franchise to purchase and the #1 insurance franchise in the country. On screen, we'll learn a little bit more about what makes this amazing partnership work.
I met David and Michael Miller probably about 10 years ago, and I met them through the social sector, the sector that I'm a part of. They're both extremely generous philanthropists and leaders in the nonprofit sector, on boards and in other ways, and that's how I got to know them.
I think David and Michael were chosen because they've built a very special company. We're a company it's aligned with every stakeholder that we deal with. For our franchisees, we say, if you grow, we grow. But I believe alignment is much deeper than that. Alignment is when your daily work connects with your soul. It connects with who you are. Through a combination of Michael and David's operating philosophy, which is win-win-win, and the core values we use to make decisions every day, which are smart, accountability, and trustworthy, we've attracted a certain kind of person to Brightway. People who love what we stand for and they love the work. And in that way, we are all aligned.
David and Michael have this really unique talent of straddling all three of the sectors of our community. And really, for a community to be healthy, all three sectors need to be working together. And that would be the nonprofit or independent sector that I am in, the corporate or private sector, and the public or government sector. And they work in all three of those areas to bring a community together. And not everyone does that, but they do it well, and they align their work in those three areas to really create change for our community.
I think that Michael was chosen because him and his brother David are a Jacksonville success story. These are individuals who grew up in the community and know the community and started their own business and have been very successful in growing that business, not only here in the city or the state, but across the country.
David has exceptional business acumen. In order to be as successful as he and his brother have been at business, they both are very strategic, exceptional at planning and operating the business, and they have a knack for finding, developing, and unleashing talent. David is very trustworthy, and I don't mean that he is just an honest and sincere person. He is courageous in addressing tough issues and having critical conversations that many people might not be comfortable in having with others. He cares so much for others that he will have the conversation with you that others have avoided for years. He doesn't see the conversation as conflict. He sees it as an opportunity to ensure success for all interested parties.
The best business and professional qualities of Michael are that he is willing to dream. He thinks big. He's really willing to go after big aspirations, and you can see that in the success of their company and the growth that they've had. These are individuals that, they understand the basics of business and planning and working through on executing, but they also will try new things and they form new partnerships, and it's been really successful for them.
Something you don't know but should know about David is that he helps the underdog because he has been an underdog. I remember him telling me how his family lost everything. I love when he shares what his mother taught him through examples of how to treat others. Through the blessings of God, assistance of others, and hard work, he has made an awesome life for himself and his family. One other thing, David is a big teddy bear. He loves to laugh and he loves to have fun.
Michael and David and I have this running joke that every time we're together, I'm looking for the cracks. For the past 7 years, I've told them repeatedly, and I tell anyone who'll listen to me, that they're the two best people I've ever met in business. I've not found the cracks yet, and I think they're very deserving of the award because of that.
For David and Michael for today, I know that knowing you are surrounded right now as you're watching this by your family, because family is so important to you. And I know that your parents are not there personally, but I want you to know that they're there in spirit. And I knew your mother for years, and actually what I love about being with both of you is that her spirit lives on with you, and I see it every single day. So know that she is with you, your father is with you, and they are so proud of you as I am today. Congratulations.
Wow, I can tell you what I'm feeling right now is just completely humbled to be here being honored with these amazing other people and to be joining the prior honorees of our past. It's very humbling. I think first I'd like to say, I think we all in Jacksonville and our greater community should be really thankful for the FCEE and the work they're doing in our community. It's really important and it makes a difference. I also want to thank the entire Brightway organization, well over 1,000 people that are not only living and sharing this community together with us, but across the country. So without the crazy amount of dedication, hard work, and passion they bring every day to Brightway, we wouldn't be here. I also want to thank my family for the unconditional support and my husband, Glenn. Again, none of this would be possible without that support. I believe our culture at Brightway, as Leslie was saying, is really our secret sauce. That culture is really centered around the concept of being completely aligned in everything we do to make sure that our focus is adding unmatched value to everyone who we do business with, our customers, our employees, our business partners, and vendors. So I think that's really, for us, how we think about it. But thank you.
Well, so we had this whole idea of what we were going to say, and Mike, you stayed exactly to the script. What we didn't include, and you didn't know, is what I wanted to say to you. We've had an amazing life together as brothers, along with our brother Daniel, and an amazing run as being business partners as well. We founded the business together, but you've led the business for the last few years. And I'm here to say that our company would never have reached its potential if it wasn't for the work and the leadership that you provide every day. Also, want to thank my family, my wife Monique, my daughter Leah, my son Josh, Nugget at home. I'd like to also thank our friends, and I just can't say enough about the beautiful words that our chosen family of Nina, Darnell, Leslie, and Brian shared with you on that video. Very humbling words. Having the success that we've been grateful enough to have is wonderful, but it really doesn't mean anything if you don't use the voice that it gives you. And one of the things we look forward to do continually is speak out for issues that are important and provide support to people in our community who need that support. At the end of the day, for Jacksonville to reach its potential, everyone in this community's got to have an opportunity to reach their potential. So thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was a fantastic speech. Thank you both so much, and congratulations. Our final inductee today is Brian Wolfburg of ViStar Credit Union. When Brian isn't donating his time to one of the many causes near to his heart, he's busy leading the largest credit union in the Southeast and the 15th largest in the nation. Please turn your attention to the screen for more on Brian Wolfburg.
Jacksonville is a city that has many great leaders over the years, people that care deeply about moving the community and the city forward. But I believe that Brian Wolfburg and ViStar have been able to accomplish so much in such a short amount of time for not only Jacksonville, but for ViStar and so many other local communities and organizations.
Brian was chosen, and rightfully so, because of what he's been able to do at ViStar. He has taken what was already a great company. I mean, ViStar is already one of the largest credit unions in America, but taken that solid bones and taken it to a whole new level.
I would say Brian is inspirational and creates a culture of success. He dreams extremely big and believes in his team. He gives us autonomy and opportunity to dream and act just as big as him.
His passion, his ability to vision what could be, his commitment to treating everyone in his organization from a place of inclusiveness, it's been amazing to watch. The other thing that is really, anyone that's met Brian will talk about, is his work ethic, his passion. I've never seen someone, work harder or more committed than he does.
As I mentioned earlier, Brian is genuinely just a good person at his core, and he brings his authentic self to work every day. What you see is what you get. We've been able to see his personal family relationship and seen him as not only a boss for each of us, but also as a father and a husband. He believes deeply in doing the right thing, which carries over to his work, and is passionate about our members, our community, and our employees.
The other thing I think that's fantastic with Brian, and even in this award, it's not that he's only achieved these business accolades, is that he's really making a difference in our community, both civically and philanthropically. So I think at every level, he is the right choice for this honor.
Brian is also a mentor to so many individuals throughout the time that I've known him as well. This extends beyond just myself and others that have worked directly for him, but into the communities. He truly takes the time to work with individuals who are interested in growing their careers and looking for someone who will take the time to help them navigate the choices, the options, the obstacles, whatever may be ahead of them. And in his personal focus around helping others, it's also evident in how he donates his time and money on his personal level.
I can't think of a better person to receive this honor than him. I am honored to call him a friend. I think our city, we should all feel grateful that Brian and Jake are here. They're making a huge impact, not only for his company, but for community at large. And so my hat goes off to him, and I'm just proud to call him my friend.
Well, unfortunately, Brian was unable to join us today, but he was able to send his appreciation for being accepted in the class of 2020. Let's take a look.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for this amazing honor. I want to thank the Florida Council on Economic Education for inducting me into the First Coast Business Hall of Fame class of 2020. I am humbled to be honored alongside other amazing individuals who have made such a difference in our community. These individuals have worked for years to improve the quality of life in Jacksonville and Northeast Florida. Personally, I wake each day wanting to make a difference, to improve the place where me and my family live and where my son will grow up. At work, we have worked hard to invest in our downtown campus, to partner with the Veterans Memorial Arena, and to support community organizations like the Museum of Science and History, Groundworks Jacks, Rethreaded, Jasmine, Jams, and more. I thank my family for giving me the energy and drive to go to work each day and to invest the time and energy to make a difference. I thank our ViStar Credit Union family, our employees, our senior management, and our board who trust in me to work to represent our credit union. And I thank all of our business and community partners who are there to support us each and every day. Congratulations to my fellow honorees, and thank you.
And before we move on to our panel discussion, led by Melissa Ross, we have one more award to give out, the Legacy of Leadership Award to Mr. Paul McElroy. The Legacy of Leadership Award is presented to an individual whose professional accomplishments have made a great impact on the First Coast region and beyond. This award recognizes someone who has shaped the region over an extended period of time and whose selfless contributions are a model for every generation that follows. Paul's journey back to the JEA was never intended, but ultimately instrumental in its successful recovery. A family man with a background in everything from consumer finance to chemicals and publishing, Paul excelled at developing strong teams, building on customer satisfaction, and reducing wasteful spending. We are so pleased to honor Paul with today's Legacy of Leadership Award.
We're recognizing Paul with the Legacy of Leadership Award, not only for his commitment to the JEA and as an expression of gratitude from this community, but also for his lifelong business accomplishments.
Paul is the perfect candidate for this award for so many reasons. First, he managed our utility in a very effective way in several capacities that I admire, reducing debt, improving level of service, improving our ratings with our rating agencies.
I feel like that the things that he was able to achieve when he was at JEA is noteworthy. And when you go into a situation and you walk away after reducing the debt level in that company by $2 billion, that is a big deal.
When I think of Paul's personal qualities that have made him so successful, I would say he has extraordinary level of integrity and character. He treats people well. He is able to select and identify talent and encourage and promote people within the organization that have done extraordinarily well.
Of course, you know that Paul became the CEO of the JEA, but you might not know that during his tenure, the JEA successfully issued a $2 billion variable rate debt program that saved ratepayers $25 million a year. That we increased our commitment to the city's budget, and it now sits at an all-time high. That we created and deployed a program to reduce CO2 emissions by 45% in 2021.
When I think about Paul's management style, the words that come to mind are stable, thoughtful, deliberate, understated. These are qualities that have served him extraordinarily well, have served our community extraordinarily well.
Paul had retired from the JEA just 2 years ago after 17 years of service, and he was just getting into the groove of retirement when the board called. He picked up an organization very different than the one that he had left, an organization that was trying to rebuild transparency and trust during a global pandemic. Who hangs their fishing rods up to come back to an organization in such disarray? Paul McElroy does.
During an extraordinary time when we had all kinds of unprecedented events occurring around the management of our utility, Paul was the person that was tapped to come back and ready the ship and steady the ship. And I have a lot of respect for him, and I think it was one of the smartest moves the new board of directors could have made, was bringing Paul back to really fix all that was broken and kind of put Humpty Dumpty back together again.
Congratulations, Paul, on this well-deserved recognition. You're the perfect person to recognize with this very special award. Your legacy runs deep and will be felt for many generations to come. Congratulations.
Standing here today to say that I'm overwhelmed with humility, deeply honored, and filled with appreciation might be the understatement of the year. Thank you to the Florida Council on Economic Education, its donors, and the sponsors of today's event. The work you are doing to prepare the next generation of Florida citizens to be financially aware and responsible is, well, to use a phrase that is much often too used, but in this case appropriate, the work you are doing is life-changing. I want to congratulate the winners of the award today in terms of the induction into the Hall of Fame. What a great group of individuals that contribute each and every day of their lives to our community. Thank you. And I want to give a special thanks to the folks that introduced me today. Heartwarming comments, deep and thoughtful, and I love them, and I love the contribution each one has given to our community over the years. John Payton, former mayor, is a business and community leader. John, business executive, public servant, community leader. He's genuine, he's sincere, and he always has this infectious, positive attitude on everyone around him. Nat Glover, former sheriff, college president, and community leader. Nat is a public servant extraordinaire. He's a community leader. He's also a barrier buster. He's got one of the most compelling life stories I've ever heard, and we're lucky to have him in our community. He is a great humanitarian. Marty Lanahan, regional president and executive vice president of an international bank, and a community leader. Marty is the consummate professional, a community servant, and a business leader who has spent a lifetime committing to volunteering and helping others in the community, including me. I am humbled, I am honored, I am deeply touched and thankful for your kind words and thoughts that you expressed earlier in the video today. I also want to thank the various boards of JEA who I had the pleasure to work with. The first board, mostly appointed by Mayor Payton, thank you for believing in me and hiring me as CEO. The board, mostly appointed by Mayor Brown, thank you for extending my work and supporting our debt reduction plans and your commitment to improving customer satisfaction. This increased value of the utility tremendously. The boards appointed by Mayor Curry for supporting me and our team during the restoration work of Hurricanes Matthew and Irma, as well as last year's work to begin the steps necessary to restore trust and public confidence. Thank you to the workforce of JEA for their extraordinary hard work and passion to public service and our community, as well as to the customers of Jacksonville and Northeast Florida, citizens for the faith and trust they place in JEA each and every day. Finally, in my 38-year career in executive and leadership positions, especially prior to JEA, it required enormous demands on my time and extensive travel. In other words, I was away from home all the time. And my success would not have been possible without the support of my partner, my best friend, my wife, the love of my life, Linda, our great daughters, Caitlin and Morgan, my son PJ and his wife, our grandchildren, Hayden and Evie. Thank you for this award today. I will always greatly appreciate it.
Congratulations, that was beautiful. And congratulations to all of our honorees today. We are so fortunate to have you represent the leaders across the region and state. I'd now like to turn the program over to Melissa Ross, host of First Coast Connect at WJCT, who will moderate an engaging chat with our newest Hall of Fame members. Melissa.
Thank you so much. And thank you to the FCEE for allowing me to be part of this beautiful event, and congratulations to all of you. A hearty congratulations on your careers, your success, and this great honor. It's wonderful to be here today. And let me just begin by saying it's wonderful to actually see people in person. For the last year or so, I've been working at my organization with maybe 2 or 3 other people every day, and everyone else is virtual at home. So it's really exciting to see all of your faces. You know, I think we are all really looking forward to the end of this challenging time. And so with that, I thought I'd begin with you, Dr. Haley. You know, all of you have shown such strong leadership through a challenging time. but in particular, the healthcare sector has been challenged. So can you share a little bit about what the biggest challenges have been at UF Health throughout this pandemic and the lessons that you've learned as a leader?
Great, thank you for that question. And again, thanks to the First Coast Business Hall of Fame and the FCCE for allowing me to be here today. So it's been almost exactly 1 year since we've had our incident command center open dealing with the pandemic. If you can believe that, we normally design that for hurricanes and other natural disasters for a couple of days, and now we're at about 360 days. And what's really been the biggest challenge is the challenge keeps moving. So we're dealing with a virus and a disease that's been something completely different than what we've ever envisioned. We're talking about something that infects people from 0 to 106, which was one of our oldest patients who went home. It's been people who are asymptomatic to people that are dying. And so we've had to learn on the fly. How we treat the disease has moved and continuously changed. Early in the pandemic, we worried about masks and PPE and equipment. That was the first phase. And then we had a big spike of patients. And it was really around taking care of the patients and their illness and the disease and learning our new treatment protocols and making sure that we can implement them as quickly as possible. Then, unfortunately, we moved into a phase where, truthfully, our staff and the staffs across the region and the city were starting to get tired. So long hours, very difficult patients, lots of death, lots of survival as well. But now we begin to worry about our staff and our workforce. So the challenge has been really from PPE to equipment to the needs of our patients and staff. But they've been valiant, they've been heroes through it all, and really appreciate all of their hard work. And now there is a little bit of the end of the tunnel, and so we're working very hard with our vaccine team to then administer the vaccinations that are necessary for us to get ahead of this virus, get out in front of it. We may not get to 0, but we can hopefully get to a point where it's manageable. We can get the economic vitality of our community back together. So that's been a moving target. It's been a challenge, and so I'm really honored to represent our staff.
Thank you for that. Let's talk about economic vitality. Daniel Davis, as CEO of the Jax Chamber, you know better than anyone how tough this has been for businesses. And so when you talk to business people in this community, how are you sensing them coming through this, and how have you led through this crisis?
Well, it absolutely is unprecedented, and I would tell you that we have some of the greatest community leaders and small businesses in Jacksonville that have worked so hard to survive through this process. And we did all sorts of things from Takeout Tuesdays and trying to make sure we take care of our service industry and try to help the hospitality industry in Jacksonville. But we also saw many of our strong businesses thrive during this time of pandemic. And they've seen a lot of growth. And honestly, in Jacksonville, we've seen a lot of growth because there are many businesses that are desirous to move to a community that is welcoming business and growth with open arms. And we are seeing that happen right now. So I think that we have to understand that there are small businesses that are suffering. There are companies that are doing everything they can do to stay afloat. But we also understand there's an opportunity here, and we've got a great story to tell in Jacksonville. And if folks up either in the Northeast or say out West want to move to a place where they can grow their business, we're welcoming them and obviously meeting with them on a daily basis to explain why they should move their companies to our great city. So we, like Dr. Haley said, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. If we as a citizenry can work to wear our masks for a couple more months, that's what we can do to help our small businesses right now. Yeah. And so we're trying to get that message out there. We're almost there, and I think if everybody pulls together, we can make it through this and get to some sense of normalcy.
Sure, what we all want. Let's talk to our business owners here, the Miller brothers. By the way, Michael, I love the socks. Can we get a picture of his socks? Those are really fun. Probably not, but I'll just try to describe them. They're really bright pink. Okay, so your story fascinates me, guys. I mean, forming a family business and running it as brothers, it's become so successful. So 2 questions, I guess, for you, both of you. How did you get started? I'm interested in your origin story. And then how have you managed in the last year?
So, how we got started is, David was kind of the trailblazer, not only at Brightway, but really in our family. He's my big brother, my best friend. He was already in the insurance business and had done very well. And for years, I had dreamt, and we had dreamt of, one day it'd be so amazing to build something together. And so the time was right. He ventured out, and I joined him. And so we came from really humble beginnings, where we started off, Brightway started by buying Ray Jennings Insurance on the north side of Jacksonville at the corner of Sutel and Lem Turner. And we had 3 people in one little office, and it's just a great community up there. And, so we started from that place, but we had a vision of saying, even though insurance was, obviously it's a huge industry, but we said, we're going to rethink this thing. We believe the customer deserves something better. And rather than think about our business and what we wanted to build from a place of how can we take what is and tweak it a little better, we said, let's just start over and say, what should be? And so I would say that at the end of the day is how we think about Brightway and our future is not what is and what can we do, but what should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it has been just a journey. I mean, so many times people will ask us, when you have a successful business, the question people always want to know is, what's your exit strategy? And as though there's some, there's a beginning and an end. And the way we've always thought about it, it should never be thought of as a beginning and an end. It should be, the focus has always been about the journey and how to make every day as meaningful as possible, how to add value to everyone that we come in contact with, not from the standpoint of how what can we get from someone, but what can we give? How can we add value? How can we get to yes? And by doing that, by focusing on really adding value, and that being the focus, we end up, we've been more successful than we've ever thought. And here's the thing that's really interesting, Melissa. It works great in business, but it works great in the community as well. And so all too often, we find ourselves in a divide and conquer in terms of politics and the way people feel about government. There's us and them. The truth is, especially the thing I love best about Jacksonville and about local communities is that it is about us. And when it comes down to it, we're all neighbors. We all live in the same community. And the more we're able to add value to everyone around us, the more we'll all benefit. And so, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Karen Bruni Mathis. When I first moved to Jacksonville, you were a role model for me, showing just incredible poise and leadership in the reporting you were doing at that time and continue to do right up through today. And so I want to ask you about how you've forged a leadership role in this community, particularly in the relationships you've built over the years in the business community. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's really about the people that you meet and the opportunities that you have. And that's why I need to thank Jerry Malott and Pepper Lindsay and Matt Walsh, my publisher, for the honesty, the courage, and the hard work that they do in this community. And that's really what it's all about. You forge your way by working hard. I can't say enough about that. One of my favorite sayings is the easiest way to get on base is to swing the bat. And that means you make the call, you knock on the door, you send the email, you ask the question. And people answer. People like to be asked about what's happening. They want to share their stories. And that's been the most fun, is sharing the community's stories for all these years.
Sure. Well, of course, a story that all of us in the local media covered for a long time had to do with JEA. So Paul McElroy, let me ask you a little bit about what it was like for you to come back out of retirement to lead the utility through a challenging time. And what would you say was the most important leadership attribute that you felt you had to bring to that crisis?
Well, thank you for the question. And I think the most important attribute coming back into the JEA, I'll call it situation, was to really think about the core of leadership. And leadership matters, and leadership drives culture. And so to me, it was a matter of culture that needed to be addressed early on. And in a leader coming into an organization, you have to establish essentially your ethical and moral characteristics before you can move forward and try to really do anything with the business, especially coming in from the outside. Because once established in terms of the moral and ethical characteristics, you can start to build respect and earn respect. And that's a foundation, quite frankly, for trust. You can't have trust without respect. You can't have respect without ethical and moral character. So thinking about that. And once you finally have your respect in play and essentially working together, you can drive towards moving into engagement. Trust will lead an organization into engaging its employees to the task at hand, the business, moving forward and serving customers, identifying market niches, serving the public, accounting, financing, whatever it might be, operational excellence. But you need that in terms of a total organization. So I think in terms, just in summary, in terms of the biggest issues coming back into the organization and knowing that it was a relatively short period of time I was going to be there, was to really work on the culture and to work on the culture, reestablish the ethical and moral characteristics of public service and working for the public good, which allowed us to actually take some actions and activities to earn respect among the team, which again drove towards trust, engagement, and then from there you lead on.
Thank you, thank you. And of course, we've been honoring this group for everything they've achieved up until this point and talking about the challenges of the last year. So now I guess I'd like to look ahead. Let's talk about the rest of this decade, and as I think one of you said, the light at the end of the tunnel. Let's begin with the healthcare sector. Coming out of this pandemic as a leader, what are the biggest challenges that you see coming, and how do you plan to address them?
You know, healthcare, I think, is a great question, really at a crossroads. So there's an opportunity to reinvent how we've delivered care in the past. And one of the things that's come very clear is the emergence of digital health and telehealth and, you know, an opportunity to take care of patients at home and really not have people come to the hospital as much as possible. And so you'll continue to see healthcare expand in a digital sense, a telehealth sense. How can we be more nimble and have ambulatory facilities? We're looking forward to building an ambulatory surgery center, freestanding EDs. And I think people are trying to get, you know, closer to our citizens and our community and make that impact. I think the other thing you'll continue to see in healthcare is really that community commitment and community engagement. Our Urban Health Alliance is really invested in working with our patients and getting to their needs around jobs and economic security, but also something as simple as food. We're getting ready to build a food pharmacy and making sure we can eliminate some of the food deserts. And I think you've seen the value of research, right? What I think people forgot about was the mRNA technology for the virus. That's something we've been working on for a number of years, just trying to find the right disease. So investment in the technology and research necessary to prevent the next pandemic, you'll see it. But you're seeing a lot of building. I think if you look at our other healthcare colleagues around the city, lots of building, lots of activities. And so we're looking forward to the next part of the decade and contributing, again, to the economic vitality of the community.
Sure. And Daniel Davis, obviously that's what everybody wants, economic vitality as we turn the page on this time. When you look at Jacksonville and you assess where things are in terms of jobs and growth, what are the biggest opportunities you see? And by the way, do you plan to run for office?
Well, we're here to talk.
I had to ask.
We're here to talk about
I know
the Hall of Fame today, and I'm, like I said, honored to be a part of it. And I would tell you, Jacksonville, we have the greatest story to tell, and we have such a diverse economy. Whether it's a deep water port or logistics or aviation or health tech, fintech, financial services, we are the alternative for all of these places that are struggling right now. And why wouldn't you come to Jacksonville with the quality of life that we have and the availability of jobs? Our goal right now is to attract the best talent from every walk of life to come fill the thousands of jobs that we're going to bring. And so I think that the story for Jacksonville, although unwritten, is very, very bright. And I would tell you, our story is not going to be the same as some other places in our great country. And I think that we have a lot to be proud of. And I think that with the right leadership, we'll be able to move forward into the next decade as a global city that everyone will recognize.
With the right leadership. And we'll be following that. And I want to ask you, Karen Mathis, you speak to business owners all the time. You've heard all about their challenges, their pain points. Do you hear optimism now? And how are you applying that to your work?
Yeah, as Daniel Davis said, there is optimism. Because there are a lot of opportunities in Jacksonville. He's correct. We're seeing a lot of businesses coming to Jacksonville for many reasons, but one is with the remote workforce, you have people, you have talent moving to Jacksonville because you can do your work from anywhere if you can work remotely. And I think a skilled workforce and a talented workforce is one of the biggest draws for economic development and for job creation. And that again, you know, the Economic Council is doing so much, I mean, and the Economic Development Commission in Jacksonville, the Economic Development Opportunity Centers, everything is working really, really hard trying to create the jobs.
Yeah. Let's talk about that in terms of the FCEE, again, hosting this beautiful event today. Miller Brothers, financial literacy, education, that's a big part of the message here today. What are your thoughts about that as we see the next generation of business leaders rise up?
Well, I think the real issue is for too long we've had two Jacksonvilles and or many Jacksonvilles. And the truth be told, many people look at the challenges we face as individual silos. They say we have crime and we want our education system better and we want these kind of things to happen. The reality is they all work together, and we have to be thinking about how we are going to make sure that anyone in Jacksonville has a fair shot at opportunity. And so part of that, you know, obviously with the higher education is wonderful, and you know, economic and financial literacy in particular, and the common sense around financial literacy is incredibly important. Many people who grow up in a privileged household, they are taught that. Their parents know it, and those are lessons that are taught to their kids naturally. In many parts of our community where there's 95% generational poverty, they're not getting those lessons. And the more that we see these things as two separate, you know, that it's someone else's issue rather than our issue, that's part of the problem. Or should I say the solution is when we realize that we're all in this together, and we need to make sure that we're doing our best to give people a shot at the brass ring. And when they do that, miraculously, we're going to see a lot of our challenges get better. We're going to see crime go down when people have hope. We're going to see all kinds of things improve in terms of economic activity, and at the end of the day, Jacksonville will end up reaching its potential when our success is judged by not our top people, but the people who are who are the most vulnerable.
Michael.
Yeah. So, you know, as I think about financial literacy in general, what I think is kind of more back to the basics, in that I think it's so important that something as simple as investing. When I say investing, I don't mean investing in the stock market, that kind of thing. I think of when you invest in yourself through whether it's education, whether it's making sometimes the decision to not go towards immediate gratification, that you understand, boy, by making that choice and not getting in debt and making decisions which are going to be good for my financial future in the long run, and help connect those dots. I think that's just foundational. You know, so many people, as David was saying, they don't have the luxury of even having their needs met. And so when a person is in that place, it is, if not impossible, really challenging for them to understand and to make those decisions, which, yes, are good in the long run, but you're hungry. And so I believe, you know, like Dave was saying, you have to handle or help fix some of those problems along the way as well first. But again, I think helping people who weren't raised understanding the connection between, you know, debt, investment, long-term payoffs, or like even having any debt, people, you know, and I think of how that interest affects people. You know, I want that new car, I want that new shirt, and what does that mean? And what's the actual cost of that shirt in 20 years because you've been carrying that credit card debt? I mean, things as simple as that, and how that affects what's even possible for your life and your kids' life. I think that's really, it's foundational, but it can change lives.
Mm-hmm. Well, Paul, in the video tribute to your leadership, we learned about how you brought the debt load down at JEA. So that was one example of leadership you showed. When you look to the future of this city and this region, what do you see as the big challenges along with the opportunities?
Well, I think the other panelists spoke about certainly the social and civil challenges, and I think they're very real and need to be addressed. So I don't mean to minimize those. They're almost the most important in the forefront to look at other things. I'll just talk a little bit from a utility perspective. You know, there are a couple of challenges in terms of the JA's water and wastewater business, and those are really supply issues. I mean, we've got to, as a community, use what water we have much more smartly than we're currently doing it. We've got to conserve and be more efficient in the use of water, or else we're going to not necessarily run out, but the cost to produce water is going to go up tenfold, and someone will have to bear that, and a negative impact on the economy. On the wastewater side, we've got to get more people connected to the wastewater grid. One way or another, that's a matter of time. It's a matter of funding, et cetera. It's a community event. There's been a lot of dialogue on that in the last 6 to 12 months. It should continue on, and I think that would be helpful. I think there needs to be a better understanding in terms of the electric business. There's enormous increases in demand on the horizon, so that's a tremendous benefit for JEA, but JEA has to be in a position to deliver that, and through alternative expansion of solar, potential other generating capabilities, I firmly do believe that we will be electrifying the transportation sector, and so our citizens have to wrap their head around the scale of the electric and the energy business and what that means in that transformation. There really aren't any players going away in that, and the electric industry is not going to be away. It's how can we most effectively support the citizens of Jacksonville, the businesses of Jacksonville. And oh, by the way, if as a municipal utility, we're not beholden to shareholders, we're beholden to the community. And one of the issues and conversations that surprised me after I left the first time was the value that's created by the utility, JA in this case, working with its customers to be more efficient, to use less energy. And what happens to those dollars? They get reinvested in the community. There's more jobs, there's more capital investment. And by the way, that's a good thing. And it's a good thing, and it's a good plank to run on in terms of having a municipal utility. So I'm pretty optimistic. Daniel mentioned, the opportunities to have in terms of new business. I'm pretty optimistic about JA and all its lines of business.
Well, thank you. And thanks to all of you, and congratulations to all of you for this honor. It's wonderful to be with you today, as I said, among actual human beings, not a disembodied voice on the phone. So congratulations to all of our Hall of Famers. Thanks.
Yes, I echo what Melissa said. Congratulations to the newest class of 2020. We are so thankful that you were here to join us today in spite of the new format and the change of venue. Thank you as well to Melissa Ross and Sight and Sound Audiovisual for making us look professional on a day that could have gone quite differently. We are so grateful for all of our sponsors and donors and the participants who logged on to watch this. We will have this filmed and edited and up on our website here in the next week or so. So please feel free to share that out with anyone else that you'd like. Thank you to all the attendees. We hope you enjoyed the program and the work of the FCEE. Please visit our website for additional information on the program and our work within the classroom, or to make a donation. We hope everyone has a wonderful evening. We look forward to seeing you this fall as we hopefully resume back with our annual Hall of Fame event. Goodbye.